Happy Snowmageddon. I hope you all are staying warm. Me and Coop are definitely doing that. We're going to talk about more here on the Sooner or Later Sports Show, a Harlem Media production presented by Sleeper. That is Coop. I'm Jay. Thanks for pulling up here on the YouTube channel, listening wherever podcasts are downloaded and listened to while you're here. Please wipe your feet and like, subscribe, rate, review. Give us 5 stars if you're listening. If you don't think we deserve it, give us 5 anyway and gift it. So, on today's episode, we got a lot of fun stuff to dive into, mainly because, like I said, it's Snowmageddon. So we got all kinds of stuff going on, like new AD. We also got to talk about the changing in the strength and conditioning side. We're also going to talk about winter workouts. The freshmen are in, and so are the transfers. What does that mean? We'll also take y'all's questions and all the good stuff like we always do here on Sundays. So, pull up, grab a seat, grab your favorite beverage, and join us for a good chat. Coop! Happy Snowmageddon, my man. How's it going?
Hey.
How you feeling?
I'm warm.
Plus,
got lots of snow, a lot of snow time outside with the kiddos, and yeah, man. I rumor or not, I'm alive, so that's always good too.
Oh. Rumor or not? What happened? I'm sorry, but you completely froze on me.
I said, rumor or not, I'm alive. Didn't have any rumors of my death this weekend, so that's always a good deal.
Yeah, no, I thought that was some like the wildest stuff in the world. I think that's probably a great place to start because as soon as OK Breakdown posted that, I chuckled like a lot because I didn't think we would need to do this, but it appears that yeah. Teddy Lehman's good. Teddy's alive. He's still alive. You know, they had to post that. The bad part is they actually had to post a graphic to let everybody know that he's good. I guess Facebook is doing a really good job of tricking people into believing stuff that's not true. Whomst among us would have thought that that would have come from the faces of the books, right?
It's always something. It's always something, but no, I mean, obviously, like that's like losing a national treasure, and it'd be a deal if it was, Coach Switzer, because of the age situation, you can want to chase down that type of stuff, but Teddy's in his prime still. He's got a big, nice, good beard, working, and so that was fun. Now the men's basketball team might be dead, but Teddy's alive.
Yeah, that's the reason why we talk college football here on this channel, because I don't know if basketball is something that we could survive on, nor be able to keep up with. NFL playoffs is going on. I know we're into that. We've got so many topics to jump into. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us here during Snowmageddon. We see y'all in the comments. No, James, I am not in your seat. I am in your seat, actually, probably. I could totally see that. My bad. My apologies, James. That's actually Topher's fault. We'll blame him for that one. But no, we appreciate y'all coming and hanging out. The season, we're preparing ourselves for next season, baby. Winter Wonderland looks beautiful. I'm looking out there now like, dang. Whew. I think it's starting to come down again here. That's here in the southern part. So I'm wondering if we're going to get, if it's going to continue to be nasty over the next couple of days. It looks like it's not supposed to get any more, but I wouldn't be surprised.
It's going to stay cold. It's going to stay cold. And obviously the kiddos are going to, I mean, it's been worse throughout. I mean, I know like there were some areas in Mississippi and Tennessee that had some really, really bad ice areas. And so, yeah, it's, we get the pretty snow, and what is it? Probably like 10 degrees outside. And so, man, just, it's, always enjoy this. The kids, like I said, go outside, and my son, stuff. Man, I have to force him to come back in, to offer him like snacks or something like that, because dude was outside for like 8 hours yesterday, and I was like, it's like 10 degrees, bro. You need to come inside.
Is he a husky?
He is. He wishes that he was a part husky.
Is he part husky? It seems. It always cracks me up whenever it snows in Oklahoma and people that actually own huskies, and they have the videos of the husky going out there sleeping in the snow, and people are like, "Oh my God, you need to let your dog in the house." And it's like, no, this is his natural habitat. This is actually where he wants to be. It's in this cold weather here. And no, it cracks me up. seeing those because it's the truth. It's, it's cold. Like I said, it's cold. It is cold outside. But I digress. Let's jump into the big news out there. Feel free to jump in the comments. Give us your questions. We'll answer them. If you want it to be answered immediately, super chat's always the best way. If you want, or if you want it to be done later on in the show, which we're going to do a whole Q&A later, where we'll just talk about what's going on and answer y'all's questions. I've been starring them as we go.
And I think Jay's got a little snowmageddon on the internet. So start off by, obviously one of the bigger pieces of news, new AD has been hired. There were a couple different people whose names were out there. Obviously we had the search committee with some great, Sooners who are currently Sooners and former Sooners, people like Kinsey Hansen, Sam Bradford. And so we have landed on the associate AD from Illinois, a really, great background. Just now got into sports, not too long ago. And, just from my opinion, there's a big piece of that, which is, that whole position is going to be completely done. There we go. That position is going to be completely different than it used to. Now it's going to be about raising money. Hey, there you go, Jay. Welcome back. I'm glad you could join me here. But it's about raising money, getting the folks, on board for a lot of the legal stuff. Obviously the rules are changing. We're at kind of the wild west again. People made comments about, the paying of the players has always happened. You can just bring the money through the front door, nowadays instead of the back door. But Roger Denny, looks like a little, he's a little bit on the younger side. So that's good because you want him to be successful and be around here for a little while. But when it comes to fundraising, I know that he just brought a $100 million gift into Illinois here recently. Don't think he can bring that money with him. Yeah, don't think he can bring it with him, Jay, but yeah. So if you're looking to donate your $100 million to the University of Oklahoma, give Roger a call. But Jay, what are your thoughts on this? Because there were some rumors on the AMC CEO who stepped down, and then obviously this broke, late Friday. But I personally like it.
Yeah, the one biggest rumor I was hearing or whatnot that a lot of people was really running with and hoping that would happen was Bob Stoops. I thought that was a very interesting rumor in itself. Like, there's no way Bob Stoops is going to become the AD, but I would not be opposed to it, right? Like, I think that would have been an interesting one if they went that route, but no, Bob wasn't it. And the biggest rumors was it was going to be outside of, they were going to think outside the box and go outside of the college football world. Mm-hmm. For the majority of us, the casuals, the main, the uninitiated here, this hire doesn't really matter as much as people want to make it seem. His job is all the behind the scenes stuff. He's going to have to do some hiring of coaches and stuff, right? The expectation is Porter Mosier does not survive on the basketball side. They keep losing these heartbreakers. How do you have two buzzer beaters? One sends you to overtime and one loses you the game. It's just, at this point, the basketball guys are saying, yeah, it's time. Move on. Yeah. So I think that will happen before Roger gets into place, which is February 15th is what I saw posted. So since that's the case, because the Board of Regents actually meets this Thursday, that's when you'll see the contract extensions, you'll see new contracts proposed, hirings, all of that stuff, and the end of contracts that happen, in which we've got one end of contract to talk about in a moment. But him coming from Illinois with experience, how good Illinois has been over the last few years, I ain't complaining. I actually don't think that's a bad thing at all. Illinois has done well in all sports with him there. He's been a part of the hiring. Like you said, he had the $100 million gift that he spearheaded. He's a lawyer who has experience with contract negotiations and things of that nature. As we all understand, with the changes in collegiate sports, collective bargaining pieces are going to start coming in. Language for that stuff's going to start showing up soon. So I think it's a good hire. I think it makes sense to go with someone with experience in that capacity. And if things work out properly, he'll be here the next 25 years, and he'll hopefully get at least one national championship under his belt.
Like I said, I think he just got into the AD type of role here in the past. Was it 3 or 4 years? And so, like I was saying, that whole job is different now than it's ever been. So having somebody who has a ton of experience on how it has been played out for the longest time, I mean, I don't know if that's a humongous asset. I got to think that more and more, especially with the next subject we're going to go to, you're going to see a lot of the people who've been in place for a while. They still have things to offer, and so you're going to see some some support roles built around the athletic department, around the football team, around the basketball team, so that you can have more and more people kind of working on the program and taking small jobs, because coaching is just as hard as it's ever been. There's probably more factors in it too, since you're trying to integrate not only just incoming freshmen, but then incoming transfers every single cycle. And then on top of that, you've got the money raising situation. And so bringing somebody like this, who's, again, the money's big, because as much as the rev share portion is, that was kind of a piece of duct tape or a flex seal on a cracking dam. The changes that are going to happen over the next maybe 5 years to 10 years are still going to be pretty monumental.
Yeah, it's pretty poor on the NCAA's efforts to try to get some of this stuff in place, but I think they did that on purpose. If you've listened to me talk over the last, what's this, 6 months or so, I've pointed out that I don't think anything that's happening right now is coincidental. I think this was by design by the NCAA so that they can get Congress to go ahead and do the work for them that they didn't want to do.
Yeah.
Like, they could have had all this stuff laid out. They could have had plans. They could have built the collective bargaining piece. They could have started putting all this stuff into place. They didn't want to. They want somebody else to do it for them. So the better way is letting, and you can't let humans make this decision on their own, right? It's the reason why you have governments and things of that nature. We are habitual line steppers. I mean, we have a tendency of being selfish. We're going to try to push the envelope as far as possible, regardless of how fair or unfair it could be. So I don't know why the NCAA thought that this was going to work out in their favor or make them even look good or even help them get Congress to make some moves. Some people like the chaos. Not gonna lie. I kind of enjoy it sometimes. Kind of fun. So
it sells.
I'm not complaining.
Chaos sells. I mean, obviously,
chaos
when it's chaos happening to like other teams, and when you're watching, a couple years ago, the Jalen Rashada stuff, and then you're watching the kid from Oregon, try to take it down somewhere else, and then now Darian Minso, like, that's all cute and funny, and it's entertaining when it's not your program. But I know that all of us who were watching our defensive line get kind of shook in the middle of the summer with David Stone, that wasn't terrific. So as long as it's not you, it's pretty entertaining.
Yeah, for a lot of people that wasn't very fun for them. They weren't very happy about it, but I digress. It's not going to happen. Let's welcome Roger Denny to the program. We look forward to seeing what you put together and the new era of college football civilization. Thank y'all for pulling up here on this very, very cold Sunday. Hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. As I mentioned before, Thursday is the Board of Regents, and that's when they bring a lot of stuff to the table, like contracts, and I'm assuming Roger Denny's contract's going to be placed there as well, compensation, because all that stuff's public information as far as employees to the school. So you'll see that. Jen, it's a great question. Jen can't ask the question, do you think EJ will be gone? No. He's been out on doing the visits. He's been out doing the selling and the recruiting. I don't think EJ's gone. I think his contract gets renewed here this week, and it gets officially done during the board. But speaking of contracts, though, Coop, we got a big change coming. This is actually a pretty big one. I think this is one.
And it happens again.
It's blinking again. And if I see you just fine.
Yeah, it's happening. And so as
it's
you're
beautiful snow.
back.
Beautiful snow.
Yeah.
I'm back, and it's beautiful snow. Thank you, Snow. I appreciate you disrespecting me in this weather. I hate your guts. I'm pointing to my window right now. That's why. I'm back. So, how I'm gonna fight you, Topher? Don't you dare screenshot. I swear, I will. I will find you, and I will poke you in your eye. Do not do me that way. Jerry Schmidt. Rumor has it he is moving on from strength and conditioning side to a new role. And it's like elite performance.
Yeah, moving into this new role where he's going to step aside. This is a situation where Jerry came back to OU, after a brief stint. I think Lincoln had a little something to do with him, not being retained, and he leaves over to Texas A&M for a short stint, comes back, and this is one that I was talking about. Is you want to offer Jerry Schmidt is very, very valuable to this program. And having him, in some kind of a support type of a role still here, that's obviously something that a lot of people wanted to make decisions on. And so now he's going to be stepping aside, and we're going to have Mr. Dobson stepping in for taking over. Got a couple of other coaches in, so it's a decision that a lot of people have really seen seem to enjoy and felt good about. So you'll get the end of summertime with Schmitty, types of stories. Those things have been really exciting for people to talk about. Jerry Schmidt had a great Jay might have to sacrifice a live chicken here to the internet gods, but hey, there you go. You're
we're not doing that. We're not sacrificing anything.
I see you clearly.
Yeah, you keep going. Continue. I'm listening to you. I'm in the background. I keep hearing you. I can hear you just fine. It's just weird that everything else is acting weird. I think everybody's trying to stream because it's Snowmageddon all the way through the South, so everybody's thinking they should be doing it at the same time without realizing this is the time slot that we have christened for ourselves for years.
Disrespectful. And but anyway, let me know. I mean, what are your feelings with this? Obviously there has been a lot of people who, question, did Jerry Schmidt have a lot to do with the injuries? Was it the way that we were doing, doing practices? You saw a ton of injuries happen on the offensive side of the ball. Jay and I have been really intense about the fact that when you have such an aggressive punishing defense, that you're going to see a lot of those type of situations happen on the offensive side. Personally, I think Jerry Schmidt moving into a role, I think it is a paradigm shift that's going to happen that we're going to see more and more of over the next couple of years. As you see, coaches, who, have great ties to the program, if you can move them into a role like that, that's the way that you can, still keep them ready. And so, but we're starting to see it already. Some of the spring the winter testing numbers, the incomers are starting to come through and get after it. But Jerry Schmidt no longer going to be the strength and conditioning coach at Oklahoma, and I think that we'll probably see officials, unless they do it like Joe John Finley, where they just don't ever say anything about it. But we'll probably see something official here after the Board of Regents meeting, like you said, is on Thursday.
Yeah, it's on Thursday. They have it starts on the 29th, and it'll be going, I think, 29th and 30th. So that's when that comes through. You'll have those changes. But no, Schmitty did a great, but especially toughness on the defense is because of him, right? That's where that comes from. The funny thing is that I see, I think PG saying in the comments that his tactics were outdated. They weren't. That literally what you saw were, we had one of the toughest defensive lines in the country for a reason, right, Coop? Like, am I crazy to even believe or think that?
I mean, like I said, when it's one side of the ball and you see the focus of the team and what BV wanted this team to be, again, a relentless punishing defense, And when you saw that side of the team just absolutely go crazy, I mean, it's hard. So obviously, anybody has to go into this type of this type of coaching realm and make adjustments. And so, maybe we'll see some adjustments from the strength and conditioning team. Maybe that's that's something that just new leadership. But I don't think it's because Jerry Schmidt was, still trying to run people like he was training them for, World War II or Korea or something like that. Like it's the job is to get strong.
Yes. And bringing in Dobson, who was hired 2022 to the staff. James is a couple of things. One, he coached at Nebraska during the second Bo Pelini era or whatnot. They lost no more than 4 games that year. They won a minimum of 9 games in the 6 years he was there. They were 9-4, 10-4, 10-4, 10-4, 9-4. They literally only even won 9 or 10 games the entire time he was there at Nebraska. And one of his main prodigies there was Ndamukong Suh. Yeah. Y'all know Ndamukong Suh. That dude was a freak, like a legitimate freak. And Dobson was the head trainer there for that. Now, Dobson does do things a lot less old school, still with the old school toughness, but more modern, uses modern tech, very, very progressive in that capacity. He likes to make sure everybody's tough and make sure that everybody still can cause problems. So that's all that matters. So if you want to maintain that tough, like I told y'all, to have the type of team we want, you're going to have collateral damage. And speaking of that, that's where I think an actual big adjustment's going to happen, not only with the strength and conditioning, but even practice for this squad. I know that the staff has recognized that depth is now at a premium in today's college football world. Players are looking for the opportunity to start. And if your team is good, you can't just stack talent on talent constantly. You can only stack talent with young talent that is ready to move in. And when you have those moments where the youngest talent is more talented than the starting talent and they take over, those guys bounce. Example, Devon Jordan. He knew he wanted to get on the field. He knew that he wasn't going to be able to be a starting corner, but he can go play somewhere. Gentry knew that, hey, Cortland's got it. Can't do anything about that. Same thing with Eli. So Gentry's gone to Georgia, who could use another corner, and guess what? He's probably going to end up starting there, right? Or he's going to at least be a very heavy rotational piece if he's healthy. Jaden Hardy goes to Colorado. He's starting at Colorado. I'm just going to tell you that right now. He will be the starting safety there. And what matters is starting, getting tape, and playing. So with that point being, you got to adjust how you practice, how hard you go, because your goal is to be healthy. Miami was healthy end of the year. Indiana, for the most part, was healthy at the end of the year. You're going to have to build and train and practice so that your body maintains being healthy. And so, with that being said, I can see Oklahoma doing the same thing. The collateral damage will not be there as much. We're going to have to cut back to, right, Jimmy, we're going to have to cut back to make sure that we don't take each other out. So that's something to keep in mind with how you'll probably hear about practices and stuff like that going forward.
Yeah, I mean, you have to hit on your evaluations more than probably you ever had to in the past, because if you do lose those second-tier guys like a Marcus Strong, like a Davon Jordan, like a Jaden Hardy, now you have to go, all right, is my freshman or my sophomore in those 1 or 2 spots going to be able to hold it down while somebody recovers from, hopefully a ding here or there. But it's football. I mean, injuries are a part of the game. It's always been a part of the game. I mean, obviously, as a Denver Broncos fan, like trying to go to the Super Bowl with a guy who hasn't played quarterback in 2 years, that's not somewhere anybody wants to be in. But at the same time, like being healthy is somewhat of a a lucky unlucky deal, and sometimes it just crushes down on certain teams. And we saw 2 years ago. Sometimes you can avoid the major injury, and that's where you see a lot of people, with conversations. And it's any sport. I mean, it's basketball. Look at the Thunder right now. You're missing a lot of guys. You look at any of the teams with in college football, and everybody's going to hopefully that you can field some really good starters, and then you can as the year goes on, you can get some of the young guys snaps, which means from Oklahoma, you're going to want to see this year. We gotta really, really be good about putting games that we can put away early so that you can get some snaps for younger guys. You want to be able to see, if you go out against, in game one and get a Jacob Curry or some of the younger linebackers in to see some game action and not being knockdown dragouts every single week, because BV will play people that he trusts. That's why you see Cortland Guillory run out there and just kind of take it off right from the beginning this year. But you're not always going to have a guy come in as a freshman and be a freshman All-American. You're not going to be lucky like that all the time. But don't play with your food. If you want to drive depth, don't play with your food.
Yeah, and you got to make sure that you train at a level that can be replicated on the game field while also not taking nobody out. That's going to be the hard part. I'm just going to be honest. It's not going to be easy for just the staff in general. We like to hit people. We like to make sure we go out there and we're tough. Hey, if there's anything we could do, truth be told, we really could take a page out of the Indiana book. SIG has a particular type of practice schedule, and I think honestly, it's similar to what Saban does. It wasn't something that's like just revolutionary. It's we do things at a particular time. We try to be as efficient as possible. We don't waste time, which I don't think we do it here. I think we're really good at that. But it's less hitting when you don't need to hit.
Mm-hmm.
But your players need to remain toughness. The good thing is, though, I believe that this team, this staff, these players are super tough. So I don't think that's going to be that should not be an issue in itself. So, well, let's transition from there. Let's talk about the winter stuff. Who we think is probably going to show up big time in the winter training. But first, we're going to give a shout out to our partners over there at Sleeper. If you ain't checked them out, Daily Fantasy Ball, y'all know y'all missing out. Just use the promo code UNFAIR. They'll match your first deposit 100% up to $100. And as I've talked about numerous times, I've been having the Sleeper app downloaded for years. I've used them for season long, and they're more than that. I even get all my notifications about hires. I saw Ohio State got, Arthur Smith as their new offensive coordinator.
Yeah,
that's kind of wild. Surprised they didn't go back to Chip Kelly. Sounds like they just missed the opportunity to bring back, a former national championship winning offensive coordinator that was actually on their roster. But, what else? They bring in, they're bringing in Arthur Smith from the NFL, which, whatever. If they feel like that's going to work, do it. Do you, boo? But yeah. I also, play some of the daily fantasy stuff. So when you make picks or whatnot, all you got to do is pick 2 or more players, more or less on the stats. Makes it easy for you to win. So right now you got some hockey stuff. Pick five or more players, more or less on the numbers. You can win some bucks. Coop won some, so that means you probably can too. So use our promo code UNFAIR. They will match your first deposit at 100% up to $100. As you can see with the picks, all kinds of great stuff available. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button. New to the channel, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. If you like the audio version, it's an audio version. You can hear Coop crystal clear on there while my internet is being very disrespectful for this evening. All right, Coop. I did a video for Snowmageddon this weekend, and I kind of talked about some of the newcomers. I had 5 transfers, 5 freshmen that I feel like will be very impactful. So when I looked at my freshmen to start, of course, Jonathan Hatton's on my list. Sounds like he showed up at 220 pounds. So the listing that they had on the numbers there appears to be from the recruiting profile. He 220. He a big running back. Yeah, that's exactly what we're looking for. He's showing up. Him and Zephyr Walker adds to a running back room that needed some definite depth, definitely competitive depth. And it appears it's going to work out for us. Freshman wise, who you like, who you excited about coming through? Cool.
I mean, I always want to start out with a guy like Jake Crow. Jake is a guy who, when you've seen, whether it was down at IMG, he's playing elevated competition. He goes to the camps. He has just destroyed people. I think one of the camps earlier in the year, he goes out and he loses his first rep, and then he just comes back like a tornado with a vengeance and just absolutely embarrasses a lot of 4 and 5 star guys. And so, I mean, you're going to need more impact on the defensive line. And so that's where you hope that, maybe you get in a spot to where he can earn some pass rush. When you look at him, I mean, a lot of people, say something like Dan Cody. I see some of the relentless pursuit that you see, in the past, or, current Denver Bronco, Nick Benito. He's very, very fast, very, very explosive. He's got great bend. He's got a lot of the attributes that you have to go out there and try to teach. And so I know that you're going to be running out with Taylor Wine, PJ Adebora. You're going to have Danny Okoye and, some of the younger guys like Wyatt Gilmore. But if you can have Jay Crow come in and, get himself, really going. Yeah, I mean, Felix Ojo, who apparently everybody gets a chance to win a rep against him. So he's just doing charity for everybody. He's baiting us. He's baiting us. But Jake Krell is one that I'm really, really excited to see, because I want to see him get some of the strength and conditioning, as he gets a little bit older, get some more of that, early grown man strength on top of it also.
So the O-line's actually bringing 4 guys that have started at one point: Fasusi, Fogier, Mikla, as well as EPL. Technically, I think Heath Ozida did start a game once this year. I need to go verify if he did. So in that case, that's true. Okay, you might be right. There might be 5. There actually may be 5. I'm gonna verify that real quick, because that's a very good question, because I don't.
And the transfer from Arkansas, I mean, he started too. Yeah. So I mean, you're bringing him in too. So I mean, you've got a lot of starts, and now it's finding, as always, the best 5 and getting those guys to stay healthy and to learn. I think one of the biggest misses that we had this year on the offensive line, which now we're switching subjects there, is the fact that we didn't have like a something that we hung our hat on, because there was so much shuffling in and out. And so when you have, Simmons going out with the concussions, you had several injuries. I mean, there were a lot of times that, Fabichi Wewe was out there playing, with duct tape, dreams, and popsicle sticks, just barely held together. So, that offensive line, you need all that experience is there. The snaps have been there. So now it's the progression.
Yep. And that's a very good question here. Bedlam asked the question about how many snaps between them. I'm going to go ahead and pull that up for y'all real quick. Let me go pull the blocking up.
Good while you're looking that up, because again, the original question you asked was, freshmen, one of the 5 freshmen that, we're excited to see. I think another one that I'm really, really excited to see is, you got the easy, the easy picks, like you just mentioned, with, guys like Jaden Pettit. He is, obviously a big body, but on the defensive line, I mean, I think Brian Harris and Deacon Schmidt are 2 guys that this staff loves. Deacon Schmidt kind of reminds me, and this is going to, make people maybe flinch a little bit, but the promise that Jake Sexton showed so early, that Deacon is a workhorse. That's what he's. I love skill position, but let's be honest. I mean, it's going to be on the offensive line. Is going to take us about as far as we can go this year. And if your defense, does have a little bit of the depth issues, you're going to need the offense to pull its weight way more than they did in 25. So, 2 linemen between Deacon and Brian Harris. Those are two guys that I really want to see, get in here and get after it early.
Yeah, Ace Hodges is the one that switched to center, but snaps wise on the offensive line, 2,663 on those 5 players, from Heath to Fasusi, Fogier, Michaela, and EPL. Pretty darn good. And EPL was actually credited with, Ozida was credited with 7 starts. So he started all the way up to Ole Miss. Can't beat that.
Yeah, I think so.
It's actually pretty darn good. So. And EPL took over from Tennessee Ford, which that's 5 starts, and he started at the Illinois State game. So that's 6 starts for him last season. You got a lot more experience on that line now than people anticipate. So EPL's got over 500 snaps on his career. Ozida has he's got over 1,000 snaps on his career.
He's over 1,000.
Yeah, Michaela, let me see. Ozida sitting at 1,032 to be exact. Fasusi had 7. I think he was at 700. Michaela 710. Fasusi is at 676 from last season. You got a ton of experience. All I got to do is be physical. Just go out there and push people around. They have the opportunity to do it. And truth be told, I think offensive line-wise, you may actually see Ozida with that Ozida part of the starting lineup again. And all they got to do is just go be bullies and run people over. And I think Dobson can get them to that point. From there, though, back to the freshman conversation. Of course, y'all know Hatton's one that I am beloved, but I think players that we aren't talking about enough. I think Daniel Odom is one. He was a top 150 player in the country at wide receiver, 6'2", coming in at roughly about 200 pounds. I think he's gonna surprise some folks, man. He was one that a lot of people tried to snatch from us, and he just kept. He said he would do some visits. It was like, nah, I'm good. Backed off of him, and we even thought we were gonna lose him when Jaden O'Neal decommitted and went to Florida State. Stuck around. He's like, nah, I like this. I'm good with that.
You've got a good wide receiver crop. You've got obviously some good running backs between Zephan Walker and Hatton. A lot of those guys were people that everybody wanted. Where you're going to see is this was the real first cycle that you had the great evals, and I'm kind of hearing already that our ginger linebacker. It has come in and is already getting people, to be kind of excited. So Jacob Curry, he's a Brent Venables type of a linebacker. He is a hard worker. You've got the twins, the Jandreau brothers, those guys, they live in the gym. And so the culture is set. All the offense is set. The defense is set. And if there is anything that you're going to see is now you're not trying to teach a defensive scheme to the entire team. You're not trying to teach a offensive scheme to the entire team. You're going to be able to see that. So hopefully offensive line, a lot of snaps, that gives you a chance to run the offense how you want to. And I know that there's a lot of people who say, hey, listen, RPO stuff, like I want to see that go away. It was the same stuff that we saw when Gabriel was here with Lebby. And then the same conversations we saw with Jackson Arnold. Listen, if you're better on the offensive line, some of that stuff gets better. And then also if the talent at receiver is a little bit better, then some of that gets better too. So it's a big year on the offensive side because you need people to progress, and you want to see John Matenia, like I said, starts the offensive line, and then the next one up is Mateer with his eyes, because if he has confidence in where he's going, knows where he's supposed to be going, has good eyes with what's going on, the poor footwork typically follows with the good eyes.
Question is, does Jacob Curry snatch the moniker, the ginger moniker that everyone likes to toss around, as his new name? Will he steal that away from our other redhead demon offensive line?
I mean, you're going to get the moniker if you're out there making plays. That's plain and simple. And if Heath can get himself healthy and get to the spot, I mean, there was a time when Heath rotated in and everybody said, all right, this guy is pushing folks around. Well, then the reason why he lost his job, injury, and EPL came in and was pushing folks around. So we got to get to that spot. We got to find those those core nuances. When we ran the GC counter with Lincoln here, that's what we were known for. We ran it well, we ran it to a T, and it's what people wanted to come in and stop. This past year, we didn't have that. Therefore, we rotated in a lot of different blocking schemes. And when you're rotating different blocking schemes and you're not really good at anything or great at anything specifically, you're kind of in a search for what can we be good at. And if you go listen to Oklahoma Breakdown, if you want to hear a guy talk about the offensive line in a favorable or unfavorable way, Gabe's going to be the first one that says, hey, you got to find something that you're good at and you got to execute it well. You can't piss poor execute it, and a lot of the time this past year also, it wasn't even that the entire offensive line was failing. It was you would have 4 guys kicking ass and doing the right thing, and then you'd have one guy that just oof. And whether it was a tight end or whether it was an offensive lineman, you can't have those oofs. You gotta get out there and do it right, because it's hard for John Mateer to get his eyes correct when he's seeing a guy just come unblocked at him, so intermittently. And that's going to speed him up. He's always going to be thinking about that. So the offensive line can do their job by being healthy and being physical.
Yeah, being healthy and physical is critical if you want to be successful here in, college football, in the SEC and all of that. And I think we'll get there. Defensively, though, as I've been digging through a lot of the film on the freshmen that are coming in, seeing the size of the Jandro twins, 6 foot, roughly 210, they're already physical specimens, right? They're already big, swole dudes. I'm curious to see how much further they can be elevated, how much faster they can get, how much stronger they can get, and how physical they are on the field and hitting people. Just going back watching their high school tape, though, Coop, not gonna lie, they've got my attention as more of underrated guys. I actually think one if not both, may end up in the 2 to 3 deep at safety as well as linebacker. Cheetah more so than anything. I think they're both perfect for the Brent Venables Cheetah build. That's usually roughly a size of a DB, but that hits like a linebacker and is strong like a linebacker. The Reggie Powers basically is like the perfect example of what Brent Venables looks for in one cheetah. His other cheetah is usually a ginormous human being. The Kendall Daniels sizes, the Isaiah Simmons, the Deshaun McCullough sizes. If McCullough would have got up to 250 and was able to play in coverage, he was perfect. Yeah, that's what BV tries to get his hands on. But yeah, the question's going to be how much further the Jandro twins go. They have gotten my attention even more in watching the tape. They may be they may take some heads off. Keep your eyes open on that.
Especially on special teams. I mean, that's, if you want to get your name known, go do it on special teams. I mean, I think there's a lot of guys like, Christian Moore, guys like Markel Ford. Some of those guys, you come in, you do your job, you become, somebody that the coaching staff can depend on, that you are assignment sound, and that your effort's always there. You've got a lot of guys who, that's where they become, the beginning of their, process is on special teams. And our special teams, I'd like to see us, get back to that spot where that you can create a turnover on special teams, that you can hit guys hard, that they are going to be more willing to fair catch the ball. And because, I think that some field position times in some critical games, special teams going to cost us this year.
Yeah, exactly. So Lloyd asked the question, you're pertaining which one of the Jandro twins are you excited about? Both, but Bo, the linebacker, I know that he ran a 4.5 laser. That's really good at his side.
As he happens again. Yeah, there's
I know, right mid-sentence, while you were talking, Coop, zero problems.
Nothing.
While Coop is talking, nothing. When it's me, issues. Anyway, No, Bo runs. He's listed as a 4.5 laser. I think Nico is as well. I think Nico's going to be the one that ends up playing the earliest. Truth be told, because Boganowski, there's a spot right behind him, ready for somebody to take. I think Bo could find a way at that cheater role right behind RP3. It just depends on how well he picks up the book.
Yeah.
That cheater role is going to be interesting going forward as to who takes that spot with Reggie, because we ain't got nobody really, right? Sammy rotated there a little bit. You had Kendall Daniels, RP3. You also had a little bit of a mixture with, I think Taylor Hine ran out there a little bit sometimes too. He could be your big cheetah, especially if he may not put on enough weight, but he may end up being the big cheetah that's just in the way at 6'6", 225, 230. But I do think that Bo is the one that's probably the one that's going to end up on the field the earliest when it comes to that.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, this is the type of recruiting class that you can definitely get excited about. And what I would say to the fans is you're going to hear stuff during spring, you're going to hear stuff during testing, you're going to hear stuff during fall about guys that are just absolutely balling out. Sometimes that is, hey, listen, I want to recognize somebody who I think can take an extra step, and I'm trying to give them that motivation. Sometimes it's, hey, I want to recognize somebody that's behind, somebody we want to be doing better. So I would just say, obviously be excited about some of these people. You really didn't hear about Cortland Guillory doing much until late in the fall after several practices. And so, just let them get in here. I mean, obviously that's why you want everybody in here early. Hopefully we get a spring game this year. I know that's going to probably be on the conversation piece for the Board of Regents meeting, and just I don't know if the new guy is going to have anything to say about that, but I think that one of the big reasons why you didn't do the spring game is so that you could avoid some of that spring transfer portal shenanigans. But now that you don't have that, maybe we'll see the return of the transfer portal.
Exactly.
Or the spring game.
Blue Collar asked a really good question. In your opinion, who is one freshman All-American you can see on the offensive side and one on defense? Freshman All-Americans. All right, if I was to have to pick one on offense, Jonathan Hatton. That's going to be my pick. I'm going to stick to it for me.
And Jay, I think it's important to say why, too. We did get Lloyd Avant. You do have the two incumbents, but I think that both X-Rob and Tori are going to be mending during the spring, and it's going to give Hatton an opportunity to come in. Hatton, it's hard to say things like this and not get people overly excited, but Jonathan Hatton is an Adrian Peterson comp. Like that's who people see. They see Adrian Peterson. They see, oh goodness gracious, the LSU running back that was Leonard Fournette. They see guys like that when you see Jonathan Hatton. Like there's a reason why he was very, very, very highly sought after. And I think that if Hatton gets the opportunity to really start from the get-go, and make the job his to lose, and, as the two guys recover, he gets a leg up. I just don't know if there's anybody else outside of maybe Pettit. I don't know if there's anybody else who has like that path to overcome, somebody who's already been on the team or a transfer portal guy right from the get-go.
That's a fair point. Defense. If I was to pick a defensive All-American on there right now, it's probably Jay Krill. Probably the easiest pick. I could see him finding a way to rotate with the edges. We got a lot of edges. We got a lot more edges than I thought. He could sneak his way in there and make himself a freshman All-American. I think I'd say it's probably him out of all of them.
Yeah, because typically I would say, let's go with, again, a Brian Harris. If Brian Harris balls out, like if he's better than both Jaden Jackson and David Stone, like we have ourselves a really, really good problem.
Yep.
But I don't think that it's very easy to be in a freshman All-American, running as the number 3 or number 4 guy. We saw Jaden Jackson kind of in and out, his freshman year, and he didn't get that moniker. Now, on the defensive side, I think it could be a little bit easier just because of the fact that you have a lot of attention. People know that this defense is stocked full of playmakers. But I mean, he's going to have to plow through guys like Trent Wilson, on the inside as the defensive tackles. You're going to have to plow through Trent Wilson. You're going to have to go through David and Jaden and potentially Nigel. So there's a lot of traffic out in front of him. So I'll go crazy. I'll go crazy, Jay. Markel Ford.
Ooh,
I think he's one that folks could kind of pay attention to because he's got that same mentality of Cortland Guillory. And you can maybe see him at the cheetah spot or maybe see him at a safety spot. If you get an opportunity to have, you got Omarion Robinson back there, you've got Peyton Bowen, and you've got Boganowski. And I'm just going to say we like to play a lot of safeties, and there's nobody, like you mentioned, nobody back behind Reg as far as like the cheetah spot goes. So, God, forbid any type of an injury on the safety room, but Markel Ford's one of those guys that I think that's a good one to pay attention to because I think he has a couple different paths.
Yep. Markel Ford's a really good one. I always remember, later in the cycle, picking him up. He likes to hit too. Like the good thing is there's a lot of hits. Like Megatron Moore, good old Christian Moore. Mm-hmm. He's one that could be a shocker. The biggest thing for me at the linebacker room is I need to see who would be able to overtake like Nesta, Marcus James, based upon how that room operates, right? Like it's the toughest position to play in a Brent Venables defense. He requires so much of them. And some people can come in and play like that very well. Sometimes it takes time. And I think, to me, that's what makes it tough at the linebacker spot for me, is seeing if someone can go in there and really push those guys out the way. Because I think Nesta's going to be really good this year. I think this is the year he breaks out. Same thing, even with Marcus James. I think Marcus James shows up and surprises a lot of folks also. All right, transfers. Offensive transfer. Who's one that you think who's going to be the game changer for you? Because we had a lot of them on offense.
I mean, do you want me to, how about this? I feel like I know where you're going to go. So
maybe.
I think it's going to be Marion Harris on the offensive line. I think he brings toughness. I think he brings some experience. I think that you can lock down, between him and Foje, you can really find that right side of the offensive line. And this offensive line will get a lot of focus if it increases, especially with the star power that you have up there. A lot of people like what EPL does. A lot of people like, Michael Fasusi as a guy who is a 5-star. If he makes his jump, people are going to start, having the whispers of him being, a first-round draft pick and another OU offensive liner. So, yeah, I mean, I would say Marion Harris, the 6'7", 370 tackle. That's a big boy.
That's a big boy. That's an interesting pickup. I'm going to be honest. I don't know if Marion takes the starting spot away from Foje yet. I don't know. We'll have to see. And I say that in all due respect to Marion Harris, but Foje and Fasusi, they've done enough to me to where it's gonna be hard to take the spot. To me, I think the sleeper pick, and I'm right there with you, True. Okay, I think it's gonna be Rocky Beers.
Yeah, that's right.
We put out a lot of good talent in. Trail Harris is going to do some things. I think he'll be another Isaiah Satania, but more possession wise and offense. The question to me is, how much do we actually throw this year? And not that we can't throw, just how much do we throw? Like if our goal is going to be to run it down people's throats, take advantage of that burn clock, you may end up having to spread around a lot of catches, similar to what Texas A&M did. You had Concepcion as well as Craver both at 900 yards receiving, really 60-something catches, but no one was able to go higher because you was able to spread it around a lot. I see that here too. But I see Trail really doing some big stuff. But I think Rocky Bears is going to end up being a Jaren Kanak with a lot more tight endness to him. Yeah. Tight end skill set.
tight endness. I like it.
Tight end skill set to me is that. Like, I think that his skills, he's going to go in and people are going to underestimate him. Like, you're going to see Hayden Hansen as your starting tight end. He's going to be the one blocking. He's going to be the one to hit the flats. He's going to be one right in the middle short. I think Rocky's going to go run right past a linebacker and be wide open across the middle, catch it like Jaren Kanak did on a regular basis, but also break tackles and keep going for touchdowns. I think you're going to get that out of Rocky Beers. And he's older. Never hurts when you're older and you have that type of skill set. That's the offensive guy I'm looking at the most. Because I already know you're probably going to see a lot. Like, I like some of the pickups we got. Like the Peyton Joseph was a great depth pickup. He's young, and in time, he's going to end up pushing his way to a starting spot. No concerns about him whatsoever. I think he does end up starting here in the next year or two. Same thing with Caleb Nitta. I think he may end up being your starting center next season. And then, you can work with your young guys, Ace Hodges, Owen Hollenbeck, who we're hoping to really turn out into something. You may see them come in 27, or even 28. But I do think that Rocky's going to be that dude. I think he's going to be the one that's going to show up and be what Satania was for us last year. Not playing like Satania, but being a very impactful player. Defense, portal guy, I'm going to go ahead and just say Cole Sullivan is your next quote-unquote Danny Stutzman hierarchy dude. They're about the same size. I know Danny looks ginormous because he looks like a ginormous human being. Cole is also 6'3", 230-ish, 235-ish. He's a big dude. He's about what Danny is in the NFL right now. And Cole has, to me, a faster first step. That, to me, is going to be the one player that keeps the defense consistent and keeps it strong. 100% in the hands of Cole Sullivan. Who you got?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. So if I had to say there's somebody that is extremely intriguing to me because the raw talents, it's Kenny Ozawalu.
Man, I was going to pick him, but I was like, I'm going to get that to Coop because I know Coop's got some stuff to say about him.
I think that he is so versatile in how you can use him. I think that he can play inside. I think he can play inside in a G baby type of, he's up over 280 already, and sitting there at 6'4". So I think he's a guy who you can bring in on the inside and kind of do that speed rush. He can factor in there. I also think that in a lot of the sets where we run to where we have the edge drop out, I think that he can stunt to the outside and really put a decision and put the guard in conflict, because I think that the guard tackle combination, they're going to try to pass him off or pay attention to what he's doing. And I think that he can win against a guard. I think he can win against a tackle. Mm-hmm. So if I say on the offensive, bringing him in like that's one that I'm really, really intrigued to see from UTSA. Like we've seen a lot of guys from UTSA get the transfer portal, go places, and actually do some great things.
Yep. From there, Kenny Ozawalu is a very good pick. And coming in at his size, I think he's like 270 something when he, what he was listed as in the portal. He's probably bigger than that. But if he's there, him and Nigel Smith are going to be terrifying on the interior. At the 290 range is where he's probably going to be playing at. Yeah. That's terrifying for a dude as athletic as he was watching him on tape. 100%. I mean, terrifying.
He's a guy that a lot of people were recruiting at edge, and that's a giant damn edge. And so that's where I think that, like I said, you got a lot of people and you got a lot of toys to play with on this defensive line. And right now, I would say that, going into this past year, you knew that you had Dom, you knew that you had G Baby, you knew that you had Jaden. And then you were hoping that David Stone took a jump. Well, David Stone took a jump. David Stone is going to be the best defensive tackle on this team, and Jaden Jackson is going to continue to do what he does. And I think that when you have the options with the Nigel Smith, with the Trent Wilson, with the Kenny Ozawalu, like you've got a lot of those guys who, if you see a jump in, again, the coaching, he's going to be working with Javison Bates and Brent Venables, really just getting them coached up a little bit better.
Yep.
I mean, if Nigel Smith turns into a really good player, and Kenny turns into a really good player, and Trent Wilson continues his progression, like, yeah, you're back to rotating 5 or 6 dudes there in the middle.
Oh man, that's whew. The interior rotations got me excited. I'm ready to see Nigel break out. I'm ready to see Kenny mixed into there. Trent Wilson ready? Is he that dude? Is Jacob Henry ready to make his way up the chart and show us why he's the son of the world's strongest man?
Yeah,
I am very intrigued to see how that moves up. The edges, man, we're young, but we got a lot of dudes that could do something at the edge spot. Like the front 7 to me is not. I'm not concerned about the front 7 as I thought I would be when I came into the season. When I really started digging into the roster, I'm like, oh, I mean, PJ and Danny on one side going. You got Taylor Wine as well as Wyatt Gilmore. Don't sleep on Wyatt Gilmore. He could be your next Taylor Heim setup, because I remember when he came in some cleanup duty and he got his first sack early this year, and I was like, oh, that's exactly what Wine did last year. And we were like, oh, this dude could give us something. Not gonna be bothered or afraid about that. So very excited on that end. Let's look at some of these questions we've got, and then we'll wrap them and get out of here. Ryman Lemon asked a quick question of strength coach. How do we feel about the new strength coach? But he also asked this question. Shout out Lemon. Have we heard if there's any changes at the head of the med staff? So first, I like the James Dobson pickup. Talked about it earlier in the stream, but the one thing I appreciate is that he worked at Nebraska and he had Ndamukong Suh. He also has worked in the SEC. He was at Vanderbilt with Derek Mason for a few years. They weren't all that great, but they were still a physical team, and people talked about how there was a pain in the butt to deal with. He uses modern medicine. He's very progressive in how he does things. Still has an old school flair. We should be tougher, and we should hopefully be more healthy. I'm here for it. Coop.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you now let someone who is going to, been in here for a little bit. He's seen and heard, some of the positives. Now you get, he's going to do a lot of the stuff that Jerry Schmidt did because he's been with them. You also get your chance to be the man to do some new and young things, some new options there. So, yeah, that's. I mean, again, it's. Will we know? I mean, obviously, if we go out and we see, a drop off in the toughness, like maybe that would be a red flag. But I mean, we'll see here pretty soon. You want to see those gains happen. I personally think that, and I've had this conversation with a couple people, but you got to make sure that the gains are measured and happen in a way that the body can tolerate it. Not every single person's the same. If you have guys throwing on 25 pounds in an off season, yeah, they've gained more muscle, but it takes a little bit of time for the ligaments, for the joints to catch up too. And so I'm wondering if that's led to some of the injuries. And so I'm really interested to see how that kind of plays out, and a new sports science methodology on it. As far as like the head of the med staff, I know they made some changes last year. And, I've heard some people, we talked to Coach Dent, Isaiah Autry Dent's dad, not super, against the med staff, even though he was a guy that's his son had been, injured a lot, but they have started making changes, and, we'll see if there's a little bit more, because I don't think that you saw like the slew of injuries like you did 2 years ago happen this past year.
Exactly.
Same cat stayed injured.
Yeah. That is the thing I did notice as well, is that it seemed to be recurring as well. Do you think Roger Denny will bring back the spring game? No, because it's not in Roger Denny's wheelhouse. That's on Brent Venables. So I'm going to say they'll have another spring scrimmage like last year. The combine, quote unquote. I had fun. I got to watch the drills and stuff and got some good B-roll footage. And I'm hoping to do that once again. So, yeah, I thought it was cool. I don't think they bring it back. I'm just going to say that.
I think they do. I think they do in the manner, not that it's going to be like it was 2 years ago and beyond. I think it's going to be a situation to where they still call it like the combine type of a deal. But when it all boils down to it, I mean, you really get the people that were there to see, the team. Like, do you get to see good on good go at it for a half? No, we're not going to see that. I don't think you're going to, especially with the previous, topic on the depth. But let's see what happens with, some of the younger guys. I want to see what happens when you get those out there. So maybe you see more situational. But I mean, last year wasn't too much different than the previous years. They just didn't call it spring game.
Yep. Who's the defensive end from Wagner? That's Alexander Shield Knight. And I've heard good things about him. It's Alex Shield Knight. Wyatt Gilmore's from Minnesota. He's the Minnesota kid. Yeah. To be honest, surprised he didn't portal and go closer to home, but he probably didn't want to deal with the snow that's up there, even though he's got snow here too. Just, that's funny. But no, I've heard good things about Wyatt Gilmore and Alex Shield Knight. So keep your eyes open on both. Another good question here from Chuoki. Is there any word on Owen's situation? It's, you need to get a judge in Oklahoma to rule it. He ain't coming back. That dude gone. It sounds like that situation for him, what hurts him is that context-wise, he doesn't have the same argument as everybody else that keeps getting this stuff, getting these additional years of eligibility. He hasn't had a season-ending injury that ended his season multiple times very early before the season got going. That's how TJ Finley has gotten like 9 years. It's because he's had multiple season-ending injuries that has held him from being able to finish the year. Owen hasn't. Owen had his year in lacrosse. They don't have a red shirt rule. And then he's played 4 years of collegiate sports fully. And unfortunately, that counts. So I don't think he's going to get that. All the other players, like I said, that we're seeing that are getting these, they're getting it because they've got they have legitimate medical red shirt arguments. And that's what they're giving them is medical red shirts, which sucks. But at the same time, game's the game.
Plus, I think that at this point, Owen, from what I'm understanding, Owen got a pretty favorable draft grade. And so I bet he's gone regardless. But right now you're waiting and, he's got to he's had to mentally be committed, to, prepping himself for the NFL draft for the past month. And so, it'd be hard for him to come back. So,
yeah. And Trinidad Chambliss says it's different because they're using the JUCO rule, similar to what Diego Pavia did, even though he played D2. They're playing that one. I don't know if Chambliss ends up. He may get like an injunction for now. I don't think he plays next season. I'm just gonna be honest. No. I think they're gonna be able to say, "Nah, you play D2 ball." JUCO, there's arguments that can be made there because it's only 2 years of ball anyway. You have to transfer out to play. Additionally. And so I got how they gave Pavia's extra year because of the JUCO piece. I don't think that Chambliss is going to actually finish out like that. How will we grade Nagy's first full cycle? Coop, I love this question because I was thinking about this the other day. How would I actually rate how Nagy did this time around in the portal? I'm gonna give him a B+. And I give him a B+ specifically because he hit the main spots we needed, which was really all on offense. Wide receivers, you got some additional wide receivers after most of your wide receivers bounced out. You grabbed tight ends because we needed more tight ends. And you got yourself a running back that's a really good returner. So Satania didn't have to focus on return game. He can focus on being just the wide receiver that you need every game. I didn't slide it into an A because that B+. Cole Sullivan was huge. I wanted one more defensive player, possibly a safety, but we didn't get that. Or actually one more linebacker. We haven't got that yet. So I gave it to a B+. I think he's right there at the cusp of an A. If we add one more linebacker, then I can give him an A. What about you, Coop?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going with a B. Like, listen, a lot of people are going to look at, did we go get one of the marquee guys like a Cam Coleman? No, we did not. And I will be honest with you. I think that when you spend that egregious amount of money, like if all OU needed was a wide receiver, I think that that's a play that you have. I think we needed to get so much more talent in that room, and we had so many more needs in several different areas, getting some experience and some depth, behind for the offensive line. But you go get Cole Sullivan. I think that is an absolutely just phenomenal pickup. I like Trell Harris. I like the youth with Parker Livingstone, but I think that the only thing I could say is, like, if we would have somehow just made a steal at defensive tackle, which I still, as you just heard me talk about Kenny Ozualu earlier, like, I think that he ends up maybe being that. I mean, I think that we just didn't see that, but I think for the money that we went out and spent, like, we got a good amount of stuff, and so I'll give him a B. Now, giving transfer portal and freshman classes like grades, it's based off of what people are telling us about them. If an Ozualu comes in here and ends up as like an all conference type of a player, if Cole Sullivan ends up as a all conference type of a player, those that potential, like, that grade goes up to an A minus. So yeah. We'll see what happens.
Same. I'm waiting to see what the actual production looks like, but I'm comfortable with giving a B+ because I really do like the wide receiver pickups. I'm very, 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 very excited about Trell, Parker, right? Like, I like how we're building up in that additional room, but it also leaves space for the young receivers that we've been excited about getting to actually play as well too. That to me is very critical. So I'm in alliance with you all. B+ is where I'm at. Boomer Sooner, Satania's numbers is actually
much better than Coleman.
Cam Coleman's. Cam is just a freak. He's a freak. And I don't know why ONT you say aiming for big names. Big names don't mean shit. It's production, and we got production. You got players that can go in and can start. You brought in a new linebacker that's going to start and who's really good, who was a part of a top 15 defense. You took their starting linebacker from Michigan. They weren't happy about that. I promise you that. Trell was one of the best wide receivers in the ACC. You got a big play player in that. Satania's back. I always remember retention is just as expensive as acquisition. Actually, retention can be a little bit more expensive nowadays because as these players you start bringing in new kids, your current players know what they're being paid. And they're just like, because it's always out there. People put the portal information out there way more than the freshman information. And so your current roster is like, hey, make sure I'm taken care of too. And this staff does that. So I don't care about big names. I don't want big names. I want players that produce. I want you to show me that you've done production. Give me some dudes that also have ridiculous upside to go with it. That's what's most important to me. Trell, Parker, fantastic pickups to go along with Satania, who had 900 yards and 7 touchdowns this past season. You just put yourself in a situation that's big. Rocky Beers, 7 touchdowns as a tight end. Hayden Hansen, who's built to block. Right, Coop? You know what I'm saying? You look at the players we brought in the ones that we need because we got good players on our roster now. We went 10-2 for a reason. I'll just keep that in mind.
Yeah. And you didn't need massive names on the offensive line. You didn't need hardly anything except for a starting linebacker on defense. That's hard. I mean, we weren't going to if David Stone would have hit the transfer portal, he'd have been one of the top 2 or 3 names in the portal and definitely the top
easily.
Offensive lineman. Definitely the top defensive lineman. Jaden Jackson, same thing. If Kip Lewis, same thing. We got him back, and so there's that portion there too. Because I would say retention wise, I would give us an A on retention.
Oh yeah. If you add in the players that we were able to retain, PJ hit the portal for like 35 seconds and came back out. Keep that in mind. We retained a lot of the players that we really needed to retain. Like, I would have loved to have Sammy and Masigo stay, but you know the problem with the situation with the Sammy? He had 1 year left. He wasn't going to start. You're not starting him over Kip, who came back. If Kip didn't come back, Sammy stays.
Yeah, I mean,
because he's probably your starter.
Potentially so. But like I said, I think with Kip coming back, when it comes time to 2026 season, Kip coming back was humongous. It was massive. Same thing with John Mateer. Like, you didn't have to go start that back over again. Let's also be honest. There were criticisms about John Mateer prior to breaking his thumb, but he also was the favorite for the Heisman Trophy until he broke his thumb.
Yep.
And
start off strong.
So you go do that. This team got stronger. I think that if you go out and get a Cam Coleman, you probably don't get Cole Sullivan. You probably don't get any other wide receivers worth a damn. You probably don't get some of the younger pieces, guys that we got like Jack Van Dorselaer, the tight end. He's young. You needed to get him in here. Cole Sullivan, if I'm not wrong, he's going to be a sophomore. You got a lot of those guys, and so we've got younger folks that can come in and hopefully earn them a spot for 2 years from now. So it's I think that you look at a Texas really feels like they crushed it because they got a Cam Coleman, because they got a Hollywood Smothers. I mean, who are they? I mean, their offensive line is a massive question mark. I mean, they did not address that
year in a row
at all. I mean, at all. So if you can't block, how's Cam going to catch the ball? Arch Manning was bouncing balls into all his guys and all his receivers this past year. They didn't do that. They didn't really get great on the defensive side either, and they lost some. They're going to lose some players. So I would rather have a solid straight through. And listen, guys, I like Hollywood Smothers. I said it in our chat long before he ever went to even committed to Alabama. I'm not 100% sold on him. He had a couple good games, and then against other teams like Miami, he was a no-show. And so let's press pause on Hollywood Smothers. I don't think Texas actually upgraded like they feel that they did. Let's press pause on that because I think he's going to do well against some weaker competition. But we'll see in week 2 when he goes against Ohio State. What will those numbers look like then? Because if he's the same as Trey Wisner, you just paid a lot more for the same dude.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why they even let Trey Wisner go. But, I'll gladly clown Texas for what they've done in some other time. Blue Collar asked a good question. Do we see some improvement from tight end room in year 1 of Witten? I mean, you got Rocky Beers, Hayden Hansen, you got Jake Van Dorselaer, and then, yeah, I think that room's going to be a lot better in comparison. You still got John Locke out there. You still got Kay McIntyre. You got Trinae Washington, who I think I want to see what he does with Trinae Washington.
Yes.
Truth be told. That's going to tell me a lot about Witten. Trinae has all of the physical tools to play. I want to see what he does with him. Heck, CJ Nixon can play tight end or edge. They may try to yank him back over there. Former Hooper. I'm curious to see what that looks like as well. So I'm truly intrigued with what he does with the young players more so than the transfers that came in. So year 1, you're going to see improvement because Hayden Hansen as well as Rocky Beers are definitely an improvement as tight ends. So we'll see where that goes.
And I mean, you've got forgive me, we got Ruxer and Mix. I think both of those guys are going to be good. One of them's just recovering from a late injury. So I think that there's going to be, some unavailability there, but I mean, I will say this is Jason Witten's already having conversations with people that we weren't having conversations with the past several years with Joe John Finley. So I think from just the recruiting his name, there's a lot of parents who are going to know who the hell Jason Witten is, and they're going to be pretty excited for that.
Yep.
It's a low bar. It's a low bar for the improvement. I mean, a very, very low bar because the last I mean, you would say maybe the last year that we had a tight end that did really, really well was probably Calcaterra.
Yeah. Stogner
prior
Willis?
to it was either, well, he was more of an H back. Willis was
true,
but I mean, like, but with Calcaterra, Stogner was, we went from Andrews to Calcaterra. Calcaterra started the concussion stuff, and that kind of what railed him, and then he retired, and then went to SMU, and now he's still in the league. But I would also say that, like, Stogner, prior to getting that hit, now it was against Kansas or Baylor, and he got the staph infection, and it kind of stunted his growth, and we just didn't see anything. We saw a lot of bad luck with injuries and immaturity. So I think that the bar is really, really low for Jason Witten, and all you have to do is make it that it's not an absolute, the tight end room is just not a deficit to your damn team like it has been for several years.
Yeah, see, the thing that also hurts him in this is Kanik had a really good year last year.
He did.
He was a top 3 tight end in the SEC. Like, just keep that going. And then to me, my judgment on him is 100% on how do we do with the is how does the young players come along next year? Can we get them in the game and get them producing? The blocking should be better because you got 2 guys that know how to block, 3 guys actually. So we'll see where that goes. Like this one, Owen asked another good question. Owen asks, who replaces Owen? Owen asks who replaces Owen in the linebacker room. Easy. Sully. Cole Sullivan's your starting linebacker, but I think Nesta's the one that comes up as the next big one at linebacker. I want Marcus James to hurry up. I'm just going to be honest. And that's nothing on him. Like, that's not even in shade. I was excited about Marcus James as a recruit, 6'3", 220. He comes in about a little bit bigger, taller. I want to see Marcus James ball out. He balls out. Whew. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 1 year under his belt now, and like we said, that's a hard room to. I mean, if he has snaps, I would say it'd be less than 20. But
I think he redshirt. I think he actually got a chance to redshirt. I don't even think they put him on special really either this year. Yeah, he only played 1 game.
I'm guessing
1 game,
that
2 snaps. So yeah,
guessing that was the
Kent State.
Kent State.
He's listed. Coop. He's listed as 6'4", 235.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And he's going to a sophomore year, so he is a stud. It's the mental part. And it's always going to be when you play this game is if you want to be on the field as a linebacker. The reason why Owen Heineke was there is because he knew where he was supposed to be.
Yep.
Where guys like Kobe McKenzie and Samuel Masigo really struggled was the fact that when you get out of position and something pops, Brent's not going to like that. That's the first place. We all see how it's not an issue with our defense, why we're, in a tight game. It's the issue with the offense. Brent Venables going to coach like we're going to win the game on defense every single week. And so you got to be in the right spot. So be trustworthy.
Yeah, at his size, dog, Nesta's 6'3", 230-ish. He's 6'4", 235. That 2 ginormous linebackers is going to be fun to see running around, taking dudes' heads off. Stevie asked a very good question, Jay. How much does an inline blocking tight end help with the run game? It changes it all. It creates new holes. It creates new opportunities. It creates new things that go down. So, yeah, that to me is probably one reason why I expect the run game to be a lot better. Kanik had his moments. He would get into a hole. He in the way you needed a tight end that's not a great blocker yet to do. He'd get in the way, and then you'd see Mateer run, you'd saw Blaylock run, you saw X-Rob run, and they get yards and go. That will change when you have dudes that are really good at blocking, to where those holes open up even more. Of field, they open more, they're going to be gone. So, yeah, that changes everything for us.
When you got a good inline blocking tight end, it's not going to be the difference between it is. When you got an inline tight end that's doing well, he takes out somebody where somebody else is going to be vacating.
Yep.
And so what that happens is it allows your offensive lineman to get out to the second level, and that leads to more explosive plays downfield. And as much as we want to say about like maybe a Javonte Barnes, we haven't had great tight end blocking, in his tenure here. And so what happens? He's always like, one-on-one with a linebacker after he's made a cut. And that's how most of these backs, Torrey Blaylock, I mean, how many times did he have one more guy to get past and he was gone? X-Rob, we saw him sneak out on a few. If you get good tight ends blocking on the inline, instead of a defensive end or a linebacker, tackling guy in the middle of the hole from behind, he clears him out. Your offensive line can make it to the next level, and it turns a 4-yard carry into a 24-yard carry.
Exactly. And that's what you're hoping for. You want to turn those smaller carries into bigger ones just by having additional blocking and a little bit more of a crease. And I think CJ Nixon could be a special tight end. I think he's going to be special at edge too. I'm really intrigued to see how he's developed. I actually think he may end up being one that moves up there. Because remember, what's funny? When I went through and looked at this, and I'm actually getting, I'll put it this way, I was a little nervous about 27 on the defensive side of the ball, Coop. Because I was like, man, you're going to lose all these good players, all these dudes that so much veteran talent on the defensive side that we got up there. You're going to lose a lot of it potentially at the end of this year. I wonder what it's going to look like after that. But then when I started looking, I'm like, dang, Stone and Jaden Jackson only sophomores. Next year will be their junior year. If they come back, you got them as seniors. Reggie Powers will be a junior. He'll be back as a senior. Eli Bowen, same thing. Only one you're really losing on your defensive line, in your defense next season, Peyton Bowen. He's the only one guaranteed to be gone, and Kip Lewis. Bowen, Kip Lewis, the only two are guaranteed to be gone. That's huge. That moves Nigel Smith in as your redshirt junior, Wyatt Gilmore redshirt junior, Okoye redshirt junior. PJ actually would be gone too because he's a junior. He'll be going in as a senior this year. So you lose him, but you got Danny coming back potentially. You have CJ Nixon coming in as a redshirt sophomore in 27. Like, you've got a lot of people backloaded that I'm just like, oh, this is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Nesta, Marcus James, both coming in. Nesta is going to be a redshirt sophomore next season. Marcus James will be a redshirt freshman next season. We're actually loaded up better. Now I just need to see them produce. But I think they can. That, to me, that got me a lot more excited than I thought. I'm like, okay, now I just got to see them on the field. We've seen all these other players. You've seen Boganowski. You've seen, a lot of the players that are playing now. You just got to see the young players go in there and actually play and take the spot. It's going to be a lot better than we think. That actually encourages me as I look through this roster.
Well, you got a lot of tools that you can work with, and if you get good blocking, and Joe John Finley actually was 6'6", 6'7" too when he played. So, and he's giant, but I mean, you just got a lot of tools, and this is a year to where, I mean, let's not get it twisted. If you are a Sooner fan, the goal for this team every year is going to be go win conference championships, go try to win a national championship. Like this year, it really does need to, I mean, it is going to be a national championship push. That's everybody. That's what everybody is lined up for.
Yeah, this is a push for that. And to answer that question, is he the tallest? Yeah, he would be because he's 6'8". So he's legitimately the tallest.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, Boomer. I think that they probably trust the wide receiver room more now, and they're probably ready to rotate a ton more. That's the good thing. Like I said, the young players are probably going to get a lot more rep than y'all anticipate. Like a lot more rep. So all I got to do is push. I do think Markel Ford can be a cheetah. He's got the height for it and the size for it. He hits like a young Reggie. I think Omarion Robinson, Man's going to end up being another cheetah role type guy too. Like he's going to be another RP3 to me.
There's a reason why they let Hardy go, and it's because of how they feel about Amarian Robinson.
Yeah, they really like Amarian Robinson. Like they wanted to keep Hardy. They gave him an open invitation to come back, but Hardy wants to start. And if Peyton Bowen had been gone, if Peyton had left, Hardy's your other starter with Boganowski, but he didn't. He come back for a senior year. That takes that away. So with that being said, I'm okay. I'm okay with man playing more now and losing Hardy, even though I really liked having Jaden Hardy out there with the three-headed monster setup.
He's a great teammate. Very close to both Boganowski, and if you talk to Big Mike Boganowski, if you talk to Reggie, his dad, I mean, he was the heart and soul of that room, and so it's a hard and it's a tough loss.
It is, but it's
understood, yeah, because he would rotate in again just like he did this past year, and we saw a lot of good plays from him. They just think that where Omarion could be this next year would be, pretty neutral to where Hardy is. And if you get the younger guy, that's a leg up, because I think Hardy's been here. This would have been year 4 for him, or was it year 3 for him this year?
Hardy, he's been here 2 years. He's been here. Okay. Him, Reggie, and Bo have only been here 2 years together. Okay. Next season will be year 3. They're all true juniors together, because none of them redshirt. They all play them a lot, especially in the special team side, which is usually what burns a lot of their red shirts. But question for this team is not going to be defense. It's 100% what does the offense turn into going forward. So, and I'm actually encouraged at the way we made moves. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. Check out our partners over there at Sleeper. Use the promo code UNFAIR. They'll match your first deposit at 100% up to $100. So toss $10 in there and test it out. We're out. Y'all enjoy your Snowmageddon. We'll see y'all soon. Peace.